Hello, hello. What's up, everyone? What up, what up? As you can see, I'm with my good friend and the co-founder of Warrior Queens Rise organization. And together, Leslie and I are leading the world's most powerful women's movement that is the world has ever seen. So we thought we would come on today and just share a little bit about our journey as to what we experienced in Kenya in 2023. And we want to share a little bit about what the Stand Together, Rise Together speaking tour and humanitarian programs are all about and how you can also get involved. So if you're watching this, welcome to the Women's Empowerment Movement, where empowerment meets purpose. Like I said, we are on a mission to transform the lives of women on a global level, fostering personal growth and championing gender equality. So join us as we rise up into
virtual high five for that introduction. Yeah.
Yes. Leslie, what's up, girl? How are you today? Welcome to the Alpha Queen community.
Girl, I'm having a fabulous day. If I get to go live with you any day of the week, it's a great day. There'll be lots of hand motions and a lot of noises, y'all. So show us some love, emojis, drop some words in the comments.
Love it. Yes. Well, I know we're going to be sharing this video on all sorts of communities and platforms that both you and I belong into, Leslie. But for any of my people in my community, go ahead and just share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you stand for.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? My name is Leslie Liu. I'm from San Francisco, Bay Area. I'm a global speaker, humanitarian, podcast host, and the founder of Reclaiming Your Courage. And so what my company does is that we empower women to be unapologetically bold and to create transformations through self-defense. And so we show you how to stand in your power using your mind, your body, and your voice. And my mission is to save the lives of women and allies globally who've been impacted by gender-based violence and bullying.
I love that. Oh my goodness. I love you.
I love you. So tell Carissa, for those on my side, in my world, in the Women Warrior community who aren't familiar with you, who is the Queen Maker?
So hello, everyone. Bonjour. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Just kidding. That was another language and a whole other thing. Anyways, I'm in the zone, you guys. My name is Carissa Adkins, the Empress of Empowerment. I am a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a leader, and I'm the CEO and founder of a global company called Alpha Queen Collective, a personal and professional development company for high-achieving women. So coaches, industry experts, speakers, and CEOs come over to the Alpha Queen Collective to become the best versions of themselves by mastering their minds, their bodies, and their businesses. So at the Alpha Queen Collective, ladies, was what we really stand for in the AQC is we stand to empower ambitious women worldwide to embrace their full potential so that they can achieve their goals, their dreams with grace, courage, and confidence. We believe that every woman has the innate power to shine like a badass queen that she already is. And that is a little bit about the Alpha Queen Collective and what we do and what we really stand for. So Leslie, let's start off by sharing a little bit about our own journey while we were in Kenya back in September of 2023. So tell us a little bit about what you experienced and what were some of your biggest ahas and takeaways?
Yeah, I can't believe it's almost been 6 months. So being a global speaker and someone who really wanted to amplify my voice, I said yes to this opportunity. Always wanted to go to Kenya my entire life. I get to go with someone who I love and respect so much, which is Carissa. And then we show up. We know that we want to make impact. Little did we know how much we would be impacted by that trip. So imagine just like going on a tour and basically not having to focus on sales or anything, but really just the heart of a message. And so within a span of like 10 to 12 days, not only did we historically see so many places in Kenya, went on safari, things I thought I'd never do, right? Like touch a giraffe. We spoke to nearly 13,000 young people, young girls and young men all over the country. And unless you've been through something like that, I have no words as to how it takes your breath away. And so I'm going to hit on three things that really struck me as I was thinking about this. Is number one is the need for role models, right? And so sometimes we would be stepping in front of 2,000, 3,000 girls. And what's fantastic about a speaking tour is that you can just be who you are, and that is enough, right? To tell the story or just to embrace and be authentic. These girls not only craved and wanted that role model, it really kind of struck me that just by doing that and having the heart to want to instill hope in these young people, is why we fell in love with the country, and that's why we built so many connections and relationships with people there. And then the second thing that really resonates is the importance of compassion and love for yourself and for other people. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is to not be so caught up in perfection, right? I had no plan some days on what I was going to speak about and how I was going to do it. And when the impact and the mission is bigger than fear, then you can really be compassionate towards yourself. And I looked in these crowds of these girls and these boys, and I felt so much love. And I looked out into the crowd and truly saw my ancestors and people that I've lost along the way. And that's what Kenya did, right? Like, I knew we were always going to go and make an impact, but it was a two-way street. And so these kids really, by us opening up our story, they came to us and really, really kind of opened up their heart to us. And lastly, I'll say that my biggest takeaway is the power of creating moments. And there were so many moments that Carissa and I shared on this trip together. There were so many moments that we created in these crowds and during these talks. And it's in those moments that really define you, especially if you're someone who believes that you are meant for more. There is a single choice of stepping into that power, and I got to experience that. And I think that that's a once in a lifetime opportunity in itself. So yeah, I'll leave it there, and I'd love to hear what's on your mind and your heart with your takeaways.
So such a beautiful reflection. It's kind of crazy that out of all the times we've been interviewed now for our efforts and our talks and our lessons and our wisdom, it's crazy to think that we have yet to sit down and really hash some of these out together. So it's like you're helping me relive some of these amazing moments. So thank you. Yeah. So Leslie, I'll be honest, right? I signed up for the Kenya Keynote Tour back in 2023. A lot of out of ego, right? I wanted to improve my speaker's media kit. I wanted to show the world that I was an international speaker and not just like a one and done, like in Paris or in Rome or whatever, right? Like I wanted to show my expertise on a global scale in front of a lot of people, right? When we were told that we could be talking in front of close to 15,000 people, my speaker's eyes were like, yes, yes, yes. Right. And then I was like, and I can do it in less than 10 days because I'm all about like time, I'm like impact, right? Amplify my voice in 10 days, 10,000 plus people, 15,000, whatever we were promised. Right. But I never, ever, I never even thought that I would come away a completely different person. Like I was like, oh, sweet. Right. It was all strategic for me. Never really cared to go to Kenya. I'd wanted to go to other countries. I'll be honest, right? Like I wanted to go to other countries first, but I was like, you know what? Screw it, right? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. My mentor at the time said, Carissa, this will be a life-changing experience for you. And I was like, of course it is. It's like another country and it's a safari and it's speaking in front of 10,000 people, right? Like that's all my mind went to. But I had no idea what was in store for me. So some of my biggest takeaways, Leslie, number one is, and you know what, I'm going to start actually with 3 and then move up because number 1 might get to me. So speaking in Kenya opened up my heart. Y'all, I went with, and I have a big heart. Anyone who knows me knows that I would give anything for every woman like that I meet, right? Like, so I didn't honestly think that my heart would open up any more than it could have possibly done. I support my clients this way. I support my family this way. I support myself this way. I have love, running through my veins at every moment of the day. And so aha number 1 was that speaking in Kenya, impacting so many women's lives and teens' lives and little girls' lives, it opened me up even more, right? I fell in love personally with 2 girls who I decided to sponsor on our trip. I could see the burden that for what us here in the States is like nothing, right? $300, $400 is like nothing for us. We drop that on food once a month, once a week, going out, like shit. Some people drop that on Starbucks once a month, So I'm like, $300 can support one girl going to school, getting education, being safe and secure. I'm all in, and count me in for 2. Because this was like the 4th trip by now, or the 4th school. And I was just like, oh my God, right? Like I fell in love with this country and I fell in love with the people. And so at that point though, at that school, when those 2 girls hugged me and they told me, thank you for showing them the love, for supporting them, I knew I was not only helping their families because now their mothers weren't going to feel the burden of having to take care of 2 more kids in school. But at that point right there, it was like God just like put his hands on my shoulders and said, this is what you were meant for. And at that moment, I knew that I was stepping into my power and I loved it. I loved it. I knew I was playing so small. And prior to that, I thought I was playing big. Right. I was like, oh, I work with hundreds of women in the States and blah, blah, blah. And I give my time to women and the girls in the States. But really, I was like, holy shit, this world is needing a Carissa and a Leslie. And it was beautiful to be able to give that to them. So that was aha number 1, which was supposed to be the easy one for me to get to, by the way. All right. So aha number 2, let's get back to strategic. No. So I stepped up my speaking power, like I knew I was a very powerful speaker. Everyone who hears me on a stage is like, you're magnetic, you have energy. Like, I love you just shine, right? Like I've been told that my entire life. And so I knew I had speaking potential. I knew I had power. I knew I was confident from a stage, but it really elevated my speaking skills because as a speaker, when you're used to 20, 30, 45, 60-minute keynotes from a stage where it's cushy and you have a microphone and you have a podium if you need it and you have slides and you have all the cool toys and the gadgets and a team back there and you have a clock telling you how much time you have left, like all the things that Americans and a lot of speakers are used to. Well, then you're told you step into Kenya on a dirt floor and, the speaker's going in and out. You have to slow down your speaking so that people understand you. And then you're also then told, now take your message and do it in 5 minutes. And you're like, wait, what? No, I need 15 at least. Give me 20, right? Like, so it just put me so out of my comfort zone that I had no choice but to level up, right? You and I would spend the nights and you're like, I wonder, we would be like, I wonder what we're going to talk about tomorrow. And it started to become so fun to like, I wonder what this school's going to need so that I can literally speak on the fly. And that's what I loved, was like, there was no, you mentioned it, right? But there was no sales, there's no call to actions, there was no pressure. It all just comes from the heart. And I got to share such beautiful stories from the moments of when I was, had trauma, to how I overcame, to mindset, to confidence, to doing push-ups in front of everyone, right? Like, it didn't matter. I got to have so much fun. And fun is a core value of mine. So I really, really absolutely loved the pivot that I was forced into. And I got really, really good and comfortable at being uncomfortable. And I didn't need the fancy microphones and the speakers. And, I still have my pink high heels on most of the time, but, I got to represent. But yeah. Okay. So that was number 2. And then number 3. Number 3. So I remember standing outside of our hotel room, and I had just got out of the only hot shower probably in 9 days. And Leslie's talking to 2 gentlemen, right, that are with our tour. And they're really telling us about the need in Kenya. And I was like, tell me more, right? And so the conversation goes, I'm not going to, necessarily get into the details, but me and Leslie, we shared a room, and we're laying there in bed, and she's literally telling me what some of these women go through. And these women are surviving, y'all, like literally surviving. And I'm not just talking grown-ass women. I'm talking like teenagers and 8-year-olds and 5-year-olds. They are fighting for the life. And she, then begins to tell me that, her conversation was about gender-based violence and female mutilation, and how the lack of feminine education is leading to lack of feminine products and mental, health and suicide and all these things. And what was hitting me right there in that moment is I was like, damn, I relate to these girls more than I've ever related to a lot of people, because so many people here in the States, they hide their trauma, they hide their rape, they hide the experiences that they go through. And this, you're a trauma, you're a holistic trauma coach. So like, you hear all the stories, but so many women hide behind that mask that everything is all okay and nobody wants to talk about anything. But you and I were sitting there, and I was like, wow, I've experienced this firsthand. I know what it's like to experience rape and physical abuse. I know what it's like to be at such a low point in your life that you want to commit suicide. And I know what it's like to be a Kenyan. And I remember I'm like, what am I going to relate to? Do you remember that conversation, Leslie? I was like, I'm a health and business strategist. Like, mindset is my jam. I was like, what the fuck am I going to talk to these people about? They're literally trying to survive a day. And then I realized that night, I forget where we were, but I remember that night thinking, God, I have more in common with these women than I do with some of the women in the United States. And that's when, again, I knew that I was called for a bigger purpose. So those are some of my ahas. And I am curious, right? I want to just like transfer into this new sense of energy, because you guys, I know this seems maybe sad and sentimental, but these are all reasons why Leslie and I have decided to come together and to do something fantastic, because we heard the need. We not just heard it, but we're actually powerful decision makers, and we make shit happen. So Leslie, please tell us what the Warrior Queen Rise organization is all about. And do you remember when we decided that something had to be done? Was there a specific moment in time where you're like, yes, let's go, let's create this? But tell us about WQR and when we decided to formalize it.
Yeah, first I want to hold space and give you a virtual hug, just because it is it's such a sentimental and beautiful trip to talk about. I get sentimental about it just because we did it together, and that journey started with us. It doesn't end with us. It doesn't end in Kenya. I'm going to talk a little bit about how and the why, right? But there's no doubt in my mind after this trip that Carissa could have went her own route, in her own company, and just did the thing, right? Like she's a powerful lady, and there's no doubt in my mind that I didn't. It's not that I couldn't either. But there was so many moments at the tail end of that trip where we just kept looking at each other, because when you have a vision so strong as a woman, and you see another woman who just, I know Chris's heart, I know her character, I know her integrity, I know she sees mine, right? And it's absolutely right in the sense that when we heard that these girls were committing suicide out of embarrassment and shame for not having access to sanitary napkins, we surrendered. We surrendered and we just sprung into action how we knew, right? So if you go on our webpage, we literally bought out 2 stores and said, F it. Like, this is what we're gonna give. This is, and that's where we both collectively did it. So that was a moment where it was powerful to me. And the other moments was that after Chris and I gave kind of the talk at the Manga Girls School, which was one of our favorites, is that young girls being able to walk alongside me and say, like, I want to walk alongside the warrior. And I was walking towards Carissa, and everyone was like, I want to walk with the queen. That's how I knew, and the beautiful thing and the realization that I was growing so much on that trip, but also like someone like Carissa, who I've known for a long time, like couldn't get any more bigger and vibrant as she could. She did. And so by the end of that trip, it was just automatic. Some people could go to Kenya. It's a beautiful country. You could take a selfie and move on to the next destination. But her and I decided this is where we're called to, and this is what is needed. And I know that if someone was in the mud, Carissa would be the first person to stick out her forearm and pull that woman out. And I share that same value, right, of empowering women. And I would give you the shirt off of my back and carry the umbrella the entire way in the rain. So when you have that much power in one place, it's undeniable. That is the energy we are creating. So a very long-winded to say is it almost wrote itself. And I know that you're going to be talking more about our mission and what we fight against, but it just all came into place in these moments, and us sitting down and talking to each other and processing after each night, and just holding space for each other.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Y'all, when you are put on this earth to leave a powerful movement like this, like Leslie said, the vision very quickly became the reality, right? To have that look, that exchange with one another, and to be like, girl, we're coming back. And this isn't the only country we're going to come back to, but we will start here, right? Because we have the relationships, and the foundation is starting to get built here. I mean, people are still, right, emailing our ambassador on the ground and saying, hey, when are these girls coming? We want them back. We want them back. And so, yeah, it's easy to fall in love with a vision of Warrior Queens Rise because it comes from the heart, right? It's easy to fall in love with that vision. Yeah, so Warrior Queens Rise, right? We actually stand against injustice. So together, the Alpha Queen Collective and Reclaiming Your Courage we have our own companies, but because we see a major gap and we know that we are stronger together as women, instead of trying to do and go at life and business and world empowerment alone, it's way easier to do it together. So Warrior Queens Rise, we provide a very holistic approach to women's empowerment, advocating for gender equality on a global scale. So, we talk and we empower and we educate and we donate and we do the things that most people only talk about. We actually do. And Leslie, I want to just give you a quick minute here to share about our long-term vision, because we know year one is just that, right? It's the stepping stone to the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. But what would you really quickly tell everyone who's watching what our long-term vision is?
Yeah, our long-term vision is to create a just and equitable world where women are respected, they're empowered, and they're free from violence, and they are at the forefront of decision making. And so our global organization is really centered around human rights and women's empowerment in 4 major areas. And the first being gender-based violence, female genitalia mutilation, access to education and female sanitary napkins, and mental health and awareness. So we are women of our word. And so when we know that those are not small feats, but every decision that we are going to make is going to be funneled into those purposes, creating skill sets, creating jobs, creating empowerment for ladies everywhere. And I think the spirit of this that you captured so well is that we do it together. We not, like, Chris and I wouldn't be doing this if we were competing with one another, or anyone that we would be bringing on the tour. It's not a competition. The world is in need of so much kindness and compassion and love, and we freaking ooze that, right? Like, you slip my wrist right now, that's coming out. So what we stand for as an organization, and we literally came up with this in 5 minutes because it's that easy, smooth like butter, right? Our core values are love, doing things with love and for love. Second is tongue twister, reciprocity. So givers gain. We're not just takers. Community and sisterhood, women who stand together, usually, we really do rise together. Self-powered, learning how to take action and be responsible for your reality as a woman. So whether that's physical well-being, financial literacy, financial health, like, we've got that embedded in our organization. And lastly, strength, finding courage to rise up like a warrior queen. And so Carissa and I are not the makers of anything or the saviors. We're really the people that just help shine a light onto women and understanding that everything that they need is already there. So that's an important distinguishment. We're not responsible for people's elevation. We're just there to show them a way.
Beautiful. Yes. I'm so excited just talking about this. Okay. So you're listening, right? You're probably, maybe you shedded a tear or two. Maybe you're like, well, how can I get involved, right? There are several ways that you honestly can get involved. Number one, we are hosting our own Empowerment Women's Tour. It's going to be epic. It's called the Stand Together, Rise Together, Warrior Queens Keynote and Humanitarian Speaking Tour, baby. Yeah. It is presented by the Alpha Queen Collective and Reclaiming Your Courage. This global event is scheduled for September 18th through the 27th. This year, 2024, we will gather inspirational speakers to empower women and teens and children, helping them embrace their inner strength and really step into what it is to be a warrior queen. So we are calling for the speakers, we're calling for the change makers, we're calling for the trailblazers, the women who have been through some stuff and come out the other side and now want to teach their strategies and their systems and give their wisdom to the people in Kenya. Okay, so we're calling out the speakers, right, to join the Kenya Keynote Tour. We're offering a platform to share your unique perspectives, your wisdom, and your experiences. So whether you've triumphed over that major adversity, championed women's rights, or you have a very powerful message, this tour is for you. So that's one way. The second way is that we are also looking for organizations and companies who also want to support women's rights and who are looking to make a difference by contributing to our cause, right? There's ways you can sponsor these tours. You can send one of your representatives to come with us on the tour. There's so many ways for companies and organizations who also care about women's empowerment to get involved, and as little as just donating to our cause. Right? So throw us your money, throw us your people, and we will make it work for you. We promise. And then the third way that you can really just get involved and support, even on the lowest level, is it may be on the lowest level, but it actually impacts on that global level. So this is how you can make $10 actually work for you. You can go to our website and you can, of course, provide a donation in there. That's always helpful. Like I mentioned earlier, it's $300 a year to send a girl to school, a full year's tuition, including everything that she needs to stay safe and educated in the country. You've got, $100 sewing machines that can help women, completely repair their outfits and their clothes that have been ripped. We want to help so many people. So 3 different ways. If you want to be a speaker, reach out, just put speaker, in our inbox, and we'll definitely reach out to you. Or the best way, honestly, that you can learn about all of this is going to our beautiful website. It's warriorqueensrise.com. That's WARRIORQUEEN, Rise, RISE.com. It's the best place to learn more about our mission, leave donations, apply to be a speaker, and to join our monthly newsletter for more inspiring stories. So I'm ready to leave an impact in 2024. Leslie, any final notes?
Great job, sis. I couldn't do it better myself. I will say that on top of being a speaker, I will say, here's who this is not for. If you're someone who just is looking for a drink with the umbrella in it and you want to go shopping, this is not an influencers tour. But if you're someone who's down to speak with a powerful message and story, but also someone who's willing to get their hands dirty, our tour is also going to be focused on being with Kenyans and actually making an impact. If we need to rebuild someone's home, if we need to share a meal with them, right? We are immersing ourselves with Kenyan. We're not just going to Kenya and saying that we dealt with Kenyans. We're actually going to be with Kenyans. So if that calls to you, definitely check out warriorqueensrise.com.
Love it. And I think just to leave the beautiful words that our ambassador gave us this last week, it's a culture exchange. So if you're ready to experience a massive life-changing transformation, both personally and professionally, and you're ready to share that culture exchange with the world, we'd love to see you on the tour. We will see you soon, and bye for now, guys. See you later. Bye. Bye.